The sun of Axion 4 burned like fire above the arena. Its orange light bathed the wide, metallic battlefield where hundreds of alien spectators had gathered. Soldiers from across the galaxy stood around the edges, their eyes fixed on the center of the ring. This was no ordinary battle. It was a trial by combat, an old law used by the Galactic Dominion to settle disputes between planets. Instead of full war, each side chose one champion. The winner would decide the fate of the conflict. And today, the challenge was between Earth and the Zyran Empire. From the Zyran side, she stepped forward, Commander Vale'thera. Her tall figure was covered in smooth blue armor. Her skin was the color of the night sky, and her eyes glowed with green light. She was calm, confident, and cold. She had trained for war her whole life in the finest military academies of the Zyran worlds. Her strength was enhanced. Her speed was beyond anything human. She believed this battle was already over. She believed the human would fall in minutes. On the other side, walking onto the field with steady steps, was Sergeant Nathan Rourke of the Terran Defense Corps. He wore simple armor, scarred, not shiny. He was not tall like Vale'thera, nor did his body carry any signs of alien power, but his eyes were sharp. His mind was focused. He had fought in real battles, not just in training rooms. The aliens watching began to whisper. Some laughed. "This is Earth's best?" one asked. "They send a tired man from a small planet?" said another. Vale'thera smirked. She stretched her arms and cracked her neck. "This will be quick," she said. Nathan didn't reply. He looked at the ground, studying the battlefield. His heart beat steady. This wasn't new to him. He had seen war before, real war, where your enemy didn't care about honor or rules. And he knew one thing: every fight could be won if you stayed calm, thought smart, and never gave up. A loud voice echoed from above. "Begin!" The duel had started. Vale'thera didn't waste time. She dashed forward, faster than a machine. Her fist came swinging toward Nathan like a hammer. He barely rolled away in time. Her punch hit the ground with a loud bang, cracking the steel floor. Nathan jumped back, watching her carefully. She attacked again, kicks, punches, spinning strikes. Each one fast and powerful. She was clearly stronger than him. But she was also proud. She expected him to panic. He did in single quotes D. Instead, Nathan blocked what he could, dodged the rest, and waited. "Why don't you fight back?" Vale'thera shouted. "Annoyed. I'm learning," Nathan said simply. She frowned. "Learning won't help you now?" She struck again. This time, Nathan ducked low and rolled under her leg. He jabbed her side with a sharp elbow. It didn't do much damage, but it made her pause. That was the first hit. The crowd went quiet. Nathan stood, breathing steadily. He had seen her pattern. She liked to finish her attacks with a heavy blow. "That was the opening. You're faster. Stronger," he said. "But you're also too sure of yourself." Vale'thera narrowed her eyes. "You talk too much." She roared and leapt into the air, aiming to slam him down. But Nathan was ready. He didn't meet her head-on. He sidestepped at the last second. Letting her slam into empty space, she landed hard, her armor grinding against the floor. Nathan delivered a clean kick to her back, sending her stumbling. Another hit. Vale'thera turned, anger flashing in her glowing eyes. This wasn't going the way she expected. It was supposed to be easy. Nathan kept his distance. He was sweating. His shoulder bruised from an earlier block, but he was focused. He knew he couldn't outpunch her. He didn't need to. He just had to outlast her, outthink her. She rushed again, her moves now sharper, more careful. She was adjusting too. This was no longer just a show, it was becoming a real fight, and the crowd could feel it. The human wasn't falling. The human was fighting back. Maybe, just maybe, Earth had sent the right man after all. The wind moved slowly across the battlefield, as both fighters stood apart, watching each other closely. The crowd was no longer laughing. The duel was not a joke anymore. Commander Vale'thera, proud warrior of the Zyran Empire, felt something she had not felt in years' uncertainty. Her opponent, the human soldier Nathan Rourke, was not broken or weak. He was standing, Thinking, waiting, Veilthera tightened her fists. Her body was built for battle. Her muscles were stronger than steel. She had trained in low-gravity chambers, zero-atmosphere zones, and even underwater. She had crushed many enemies before, some twice Nathan's size, but none of them had eyes like his. Steady, calm, and focused. She stepped forward again. This time she was more careful. No wild charges, no heavy swings. She threw a fast punch, then a second, then a spinning elbow strike. Nathan blocked one, dodged the second, and rolled away before the elbow could land. He was reading her like a book. Nathan knew she was adjusting. She wasn't going to make the same mistake twice. He had limited time before she became too smart for his tricks. His ribs ached, and his left shoulder was sore from the last block. The pain was something he was used to. Pain didn't stop a Terran soldier. It sharpened them. As she came forward again, Nathan faked a step back and suddenly darted in. He slammed a punch into her side, then kicked her knee from the side. She staggered, surprised again by his speed and timing. Veilthera growled under her breath and spun around with a backhand strike. This time it landed. Nathan flew across the ring and hit the floor hard, dust rising around him. The crowd gasped. Veilthera stood straight, breathing deeply. Her face was serious now. "I warned you, human," she said. "You should have stayed down." Nathan coughed, got to one knee, and looked up at her. "And miss all the fun?" He stood, slower this time. His body ached, but he smiled. It wasn't a cocky smile. It was the kind of smile that said, "I've been here before." Veilthera didn't understand it. Why wasn't he afraid? Why wasn't he finished? She charged again, and they clashed in the center of the field. Blow after blow, strike after strike. Metal against metal, fist against fist. Nathan couldn't block all of them. He took a few hits, but each time he was knocked back, he came up again. The crowd watched in silence. Amazed. One alien general whispered to another, "He doesn't know how to quit." "That," the other replied, "is what makes them dangerous." Suddenly, Nathan changed his style. He stopped retreating and started pressing forward. Small attacks, fast jabs, short kicks. He wasn't trying to hurt her, he was testing her reactions. And then he saw a tiny delay in her right leg. Maybe from the earlier kick to the knee, a weakness. Nathan moved fast. He baited her into a strong forward attack, then slid under it and kicked her injured leg with full force. Veilthera stumbled, and Nathan followed with a punch to her ribs. She cried out and pushed him back with a powerful swing. But now the fight had changed. Veilthera's eyes were wide with shock. This was not how the duel was supposed to go. Humans were supposed to be slower, weaker, easier, but this man fought like a soldier who had nothing to lose and everything to prove. Nathan spoke calmly. "You're stronger than me, no doubt about it. But strength isn't everything." Veilthera stepped back, breathing hard. Her body was hurting, not badly, but enough to slow her down. "You think you can win this?" she asked. "I didn't come here to lose," he replied. There was no pride in his voice. No anger, just belief. The duel paused for a moment as both fighters stood apart again. The sun above had started to set, painting the sky red and gold. The shadows in the arena grew longer. The crowd was on edge now. Even the Dominion commanders sat in silence. No one had expected this. Nathan Rourke was not just surviving, he was fighting to win. Veilthera looked at him with new eyes, not as a weak human, but as a true warrior. And for the first time she wondered if she had made a mistake. The sky above the arena turned darker as the twin moons of Axion 4 slowly appeared. The air was thick with tension. The crowd was silent now. No one laughed, no one spoke. All eyes stayed locked on the two fighters in the ring. Commander Veilthera stood tall, but inside she was shaken. Her right leg throbbed from the human's kick. A dull ache pulsed in her ribs. She had been in many battles, but never had she met a warrior like this, someone who should have been weaker, but somehow kept rising. Her enemy, Sergeant Nathan Rourke, stood a few feet away, breathing hard. Sweat dripped from his forehead. His armor was scratched and his body felt heavy, but his spirit was sharp. He had no fancy training, no enhanced strength, Just his mind, his instincts, and his unbreakable will. Veilthera studied him carefully. "You're not like the others," she said. Nathan tilted his head. "I've heard that before." "You don't have strength like mine," she said, stepping forward. "So why do you keep fighting?" Nathan's answer was simple. "Because I have a reason." Veilthera's eyes narrowed. She lunged again, her speed still impressive. Her strikes came fast left, right, spin, knee. Nathan dodged and blocked as best he could. A punch caught his shoulder, but he used the momentum to swing around and slam his elbow into her back. She stumbled forward but didn't fall. Nathan stayed alert. He knew she was dangerous. But now he also knew something else. She was unsure. That gave him an edge. Back home on Earth, Nathan wasn't born a soldier. He grew up in a small mining town. Life was hard. He learned to fight not in training rooms, but in real struggles, protecting his younger brother, surviving on little food, and standing up to bullies twice his size. That life had built something stronger than muscles. It had built grit. "You think I'm strong because I hit hard," Veilthera said, circling him, "but my people are bred for war. I was created for this." Nathan nodded slowly. "And yet, here we are." She rushed again. This time Nathan was ready. He stepped sideways, grabbed her arm, and twisted her weight to throw her off balance. She landed hard, but rolled quickly and stood up again. A trickle of blue blood ran from her lip. The crowd gasped. Veilthera wiped the blood and stared at her hand. For the first time, her perfect training had not been enough. Nathan raised a hand, not in pride, but in warning. "You're fighting like a machine, but this isn't a test. This is real." Veilthera growled. "You speak like a teacher." "Human, no," Nathan said. "I speak like someone who's seen too many graves." For a moment there was silence again. Then something shifted in Veilthera. Her next attack was not wild. It was focused. She used a different style now, less power, more control. She had stopped underestimating him. The battle became faster, sharper, blow after blow, each more careful than before. They were learning each other's moves, testing each other's minds. Nathan landed a clean hit on her side. She caught his wrist and twisted. He grunted but flipped over her arm and freed himself. They were equals now, not in power, but in skill. Nathan smiled slightly. "You're adapting." "And you're more than you seem," Veilthera replied, her voice quieter. Now, a strange respect began to grow between them. They were enemies, yes, but warriors understood each other in ways others could not. Still, only one could win. Nathan's body ached more with each step. His left arm was weaker now, and his legs felt heavy, but his mind stayed sharp. He noticed Veilthera's breathing was heavier too. Her steps slower. He needed to end this soon. He watched her closely, looking for a mistake, a pause, an opening. Then he saw it, just a blink, but enough. She slightly shifted weight to her left leg, protecting her right. It was the same leg he had hit earlier. That was it. Nathan moved fast. He pretended to go right, then spun left and slammed a low kick to her weak leg. As she dropped, he twisted behind her and locked her arm in a tight hold. The crowd gasped again. Veilthera struggled. She was strong, but Nathan held firm. He didn't choke or crush, he just controlled. "Clean, final, I can break it," he said calmly, "but I don't want to." Veilthera stopped moving. Silence. Then, slowly, she tapped her free hand to the ground. The signal of surrender. The arena exploded in noise. Shock, awe, and disbelief spread through the alien crowd. Commander Veilthera, the pride of the Zyran Empire, had lost, and she had lost to a human. The arena fell silent as Commander Veilthera tapped the ground, signaling her surrender. The crowd could hardly believe what they had just seen. The proud Zyran warrior, unbeaten for decades, had been defeated by a human. Nathan released his hold carefully and stepped back, breathing heavily but steady. He helped Veilthera to her feet, showing respect to the fallen commander. The alien woman's eyes shone not with anger, but with a new feeling, shock and reflection. Veilthera looked down at her injured leg. The pain there was real and sharp, but it wasn't just the injury that had brought her down. It was something deeper. For the first time, she felt the truth that her empire had always ignored. Humans were not weak. Nathan watched her quietly. He didn't celebrate. This wasn't about pride, it was about survival, respect, and hope. You fought well, he said simply. But you had a weakness. Velthira's eyes met his. What weakness? Not your body, Nathan replied. Your mind, she frowned. Explain. Nathan stepped forward slowly, choosing his words carefully. You trained to fight the way your empire expected. You trusted your strength and speed. But you forgot. One thing humans fight with their whole being: we adapt. We learn from pain and failure. We don't give up because we are tired or hurt. Velthira studied him, understanding beginning to dawn. So you used my own pride against me? Nathan nodded. Yes, pride is powerful, but it can blind you. The crowd began to murmur. The elders of the Galactic Dominion exchanged uneasy glances. Many had assumed humans were easy to conquer. Today that belief was broken. Velthira felt a strange respect for Nathan growing inside her. He had not just won with fists. He had won with strategy and spirit. The commander lowered her gaze. I underestimated you, she admitted softly. A mistake I will not make again, Nathan smiled. Good, because if you do, your empire will learn a hard lesson. Outside the arena, the news spread quickly. Across the galaxy, diplomats and leaders whispered about the fight. How a human had stood firm against the mighty Xiren. How Earth was no longer a planet to be ignored. But in the quiet corner of the arena, two warriors shared a moment of understanding. Velthira asked, Tell me, human, what made you so strong? Nathan paused. It wasn't just me, it's all of us. Our history is full of struggle and survival. We don't have the biggest ships or the most advanced weapons, but we have heart. And when that is tested, we fight back harder. She looked at him, then at the crowd still watching. Your kind may have more power than I thought, Nathan nodded. We have more to prove, and this is just the beginning. The Galactic Dominion would not forget this day. A new chapter had begun, one where humans would stand tall among the stars. The duel was over, but its echo traveled far beyond the arena. From the shining towers of Xiren Prime to the hidden colonies on the edge of the galaxy, the news spread like fire. A human had defeated Commander Velthira inside the High Council chamber of the Xiren Empire. 10 tall figures sat in silence. Their armor shone like glass, their faces unreadable. A large screen in front of them showed the final moment of the battle, Nathan holding Velthira in a perfect lock, forcing her surrender. It was hard to believe, even harder to accept. He was not enhanced, one counselor said, voice tight with disbelief. No cybernetics, no implants, said another. Just human strength, human skill. But he won, said a third. Which means we were wrong. The leader of the council, Lord Zarn, stood slowly. His voice was calm, but firm. One victory does not make their species powerful. Perhaps. It was luck. Perhaps, said another, but luck is not enough to defeat Velthira. Back on Axion 4, Nathan sat alone in the medical tent, having his shoulder wrapped by a medic. The pain had returned in full now that the fight was over. His ribs were bruised, his knees sore, and his arms heavy. Still, he smiled quietly. You're lucky to be standing, the medic said. I saw that hit you took to the side. Thought it cracked a rib. Nathan chuckled. It probably did. I've had worse. General Amina Gray, the Earth diplomat who had chosen Nathan for the duel, entered the tent. She was a tall woman with short gray hair and sharp eyes. She looked proud but also thoughtful. You've started something, she said. Something big. Nathan looked up. Bigger than the fight? Much bigger, she replied. The galaxy saw you win. Now they're asking questions about Earth, about us. He nodded. Let them ask. Amina handed him a datapad. The Xiren Empire just sent a message. They've called for a private meeting. No threats, no demands, just a conversation. Nathan raised an eyebrow. That doesn't sound like them. It isn't, she said. You've made them pause. That's not small. Just then, the tent's entrance opened again. To Nathan's surprise, Commander Velthira walked in this time without her armor. She wore a dark, simple uniform and moved with a slight limp. A blue bandage wrapped her leg. Amina stood in front of Nathan protectively. "This isn't the time. It's all right," Nathan said, raising a hand. "Let her speak." Valthera stepped forward slowly. Her voice was softer than before. "I came to talk, not to fight." Amina nodded, then gave them space. Nathan sat up straighter. "You look like you've been thinking." "I have," Valthera said. "Your words stayed with me. Not just your strength, but the way you fought. Smart, careful, determined." Nathan tilted his head. "You're not used to losing, are you?" Valthera gave a small smile. "No, but maybe I needed it." There was a pause. The tension between them had changed. No longer enemies, now they were equals. "Why are you really here?" Nathan asked. "I want to understand," she said. "I want to learn about your people. About how someone without implants or super training could defeat me." Nathan looked thoughtful. "You could start by letting go of the idea that strength means everything." Valthera nodded. "And if we do that?" "Then maybe," he said, "you'll stop seeing humans as a problem and start seeing us as partners." Outside, the sun of Axion 4 began to rise again. Light filtered through the tent as the first rays of morning touched the ground. A new day had begun, not just for Nathan and Valthera, but for the galaxy. Nathan stood slowly and offered his hand. "We don't want war, but we won't back down either." Valthera looked at the hand for a moment, then took it. "I don't know what happens next," she said honestly. Nathan nodded. "Neither do I, but at least now we're talking." Far away in the stars, the balance of power had shifted. Not because of ships or weapons, but because one man had stood his ground and proved that humans are never to be underestimated. The peace on Axion 4 was thin like a fragile glass ready to crack. Nathan Rourke's victory over Commander Valthera had changed many things, but not everyone liked the change. In the shadows of the Galactic Dominion, quiet voices grew louder. Some alien commanders whispered of revenge, others spoke of fear. The humans had proven themselves. Now, no one was sure how powerful Earth might really be. But Nathan didn't care about politics. He was still recovering from the battle, walking slowly across the training field behind the Earth Embassy. The twin suns hung low in the sky, casting long shadows. He paused near a group of young human recruits. They were practicing basic hand-to-hand combat. When they saw Nathan, they stopped and saluted, eyes wide with respect. "You don't need to salute me," Nathan said with a kind smile. "Keep training, that's what matters." One of the recruits, a small girl named Rhea, stepped forward. "Sir, how did you beat someone like her? She was so fast and strong." Nathan looked thoughtful. "I used everything I had, not just strength. I watched, I listened, I waited for the right moment." "You don't need to be stronger, you need to be smarter." Rhea nodded slowly, her eyes shining with determination. Just then, a familiar voice spoke from behind. "You're becoming a hero to your people." Nathan turned. Valthera stood there, still wearing her dark uniform. The bruise on her cheek had faded, but a faint scar remained near her temple. She walked without limping now. "I didn't ask to be a hero," Nathan said. "But sometimes heroes are made by what they do, not what they want," she replied. He smiled. "Is that how your people see you?" Valthera hesitated. "They used to. Now, some question me. They see my defeat as weakness." Nathan raised an eyebrow. "And what do you see it as?" She looked him in the eyes. "A lesson." They walked side by side through the quiet field. No guards followed. Cameras watched. Just two warriors, once enemies, now something more complex. "There's something you should know," Valthera said after a long pause. "Not everyone in my empire agrees with this peace. Some believe the only answer is war." Nathan nodded. "I figured that would happen." "There is one in particular," she continued. "General Corvaz. He is powerful, proud, and angry. He believes your victory was a trick. He wants to strike Earth before humans become too strong." Nathan's eyes narrowed. "So he's planning something?" "Yes," she said. "He's gathering ships, quietly, secretly, but I saw the signs before I left. Why are you telling me this? Nathan asked carefully. Because I lost to you with honor, she said. And I respect that. Corvus doesn't care about honor. He wants destruction. If we do not stop him, Earth will suffer and the war will spread across the stars, Nathan sighed. So this isn't over, Valthera shook her head. No. But it can still be stopped, Nathan thought for a moment. How? She looked at him with serious eyes. With unity, with action. You and we have something the others don't. Trust. He gave a short laugh. Trust between a human and a Zyron? That's a first, maybe, she said. But maybe it's also the start of something new. Later that evening, inside the Earth Embassy war room, Nathan stood beside General Amina Gray, studying a hologram of the galaxy. Red dots showed the movements of ships. Several were gathering near a dark system far from official Zyron space. This must be Corvaz, Amina said. He's hiding his forces in the asteroid belt. We don't have enough ships to match him. Another officer said. Nathan looked at the map, then at Valthera, who stood nearby. We don't need to match him. We need to outthink him. Valthera stepped forward. Corvaz believes humans are reckless and emotional. That's his weakness. He underestimates you like I once did, Nathan nodded. Then let's use that. Plans were drawn. Messages were sent. Quietly, human allies small worlds that had watched the duel began to move. Not with weapons, but with information, coordination, and speed. The war they feared hadn't started yet, but the fight to stop it had already begun. As Nathan walked out into the cool night air, he looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, an angry general was preparing for war, but this time, Earth was ready, and Nathan wasn't alone. Stars glittered over the dark edge of the Vexor Belt, a cold, empty zone of floating rocks and dead planets. But now, dozens of warships hid among the asteroids like waiting beasts. General Corvaz, a giant Zyron warlord with armor darker than space, stood at the bridge of his flagship. The fanged light, his red eyes glowed as he looked at the map of Earth's position. Prepare the attack fleet, he growled. We strike in 4 cycles. His officers bowed and left the room quickly. No one questioned Corvaz. Not after what happened to the last commander who disagreed with him. Meanwhile, back on Axion 4, Nathan Rourke stood with General Amina Gray and Commander Valthera inside the strategy chamber. Around them, a 3D model of Corvaz's fleet floated in midair. His numbers are greater, Amina said, but not his mind. Valthera stepped forward. Corvaz believes in fear and force. That makes him predictable. Nathan looked at the glowing map and pointed to a narrow path in the asteroid field. This is our way in. A small team can get close and disable his command ship's power source. No command, no control. You want to infiltrate the most dangerous ship in the fleet? Amina asked. Nathan smiled slightly. I've done worse, Valthera nodded. Then I'll go with you. Everyone turned to her. She continued. Calmly, I know his ship systems. I trained under him years ago. And I have something he doesn't expect: faith in humans. Amina agreed. This is risky. But if you succeed, we may stop a war before it begins. Nathan and Valthera left with a small strike team: 3 humans, 2 alien allies, and a pilot who had once flown through a collapsing star. They called their small ship the Quiet Storm, and it vanished into the dark of space. 3 days later, they reached the Vexor Belt. The asteroid field was dense and dangerous. The Quiet Storm danced between huge rocks, silent and unseen. Their ship was cloaked, powered down to avoid sensors. Inside, tension filled the air. Once we land, Valthera said, checking her blade, we have 10 minutes before they notice. Nathan tightened the strap on his suit. 10 minutes is all I need. Their ship attached to the underside of Corvaz's command vessel like a tiny insect. The team moved fast through service tunnels, staying quiet. Finally, they reached the energy core chamber, huge and glowing with blue light. 2 guards stood nearby. Valthera signaled. Nathan moved first, fast and smooth. 1 strike, 1 fall. Valthera took the second. No alarms. Just silence. Nathan approached the core and placed the device. 5 minutes, he whispered. Suddenly, a heavy blast shook the hallway. The team spun around. Corvez had arrived. Towering, angry, and fully armored, the general roared, "Traitor!" when he saw Valthera. "You dare side with these weak creatures?" Valthera stepped forward. "They are not weak. They are strong in ways you'll never understand." Corvus laughed. "Words won't save you now." Nathan stood beside her. "She doesn't need words." Corvus charged, swinging his heavy blade. The floor shook under his steps. Nathan dodged, rolled, and struck, but Corvus' armor was thick. Valthera joined the fight, fast and focused. She remembered his every move. Together she and Nathan fought like one. Minutes passed. Sparks flew. The core chamber trembled from their battle. Then, with one final strike, Valthera disarmed Corvus. Nathan used the shock to push him back. With a stun blast, the giant general dropped to one knee. The device on the core beeped. The energy link was broken. Across the fleet, lights went dark. Systems shut down. The ships froze. Corvus stared up, shocked. "How?" Nathan leaned in. "You thought humans were weak." "That was your mistake." They left the ship quickly, floating back to their craft as silent alarms rang. By the time the fleet could respond, Earth's alliance had surrounded the Vexor belt, not to destroy, but to talk. In the days that followed, something changed. The Zyran Empire recalled Corvus. He was stripped of command, and a new council opened communication with Earth and its allies. And Commander Valthera. She became a bridge between worlds. Nathan returned to Axion 4 a hero, but he always said, "It wasn't just me. It was all of us." In the stars, peace returned not because of fear, but because of understanding. And throughout the galaxy, one story was told again and again. The alien woman thought she could easily defeat the human warrior. A mistake she would never forget.